to the legal system of Islam. Hence these advices. O you who believe, don't ask about those things that if they are disclosed to you, you will feel annoyed. Don't ask such questions. وَإِن تَسَلُوا, and if you will ask, حِينَ يُنَزَّلُ الْقُرْآنِ, when Quran is being sent down, تُبْلَ لَكُمْ, it will be disclosed. عَفَى اللَّهُ عَنْهَا, Allah has left them over as a concession. Conceded to them something. I will explain. Wallahu ghafurun halim, and Allah is forgiving and forbearing. What does it mean? We find in a hadith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has declared something absolutely clearly haram, and something on the other side absolutely clearly halal, permissible, forbidden. In between, there is a very wide field of mushtabihat. So many things are not mentioned. And one, at some times he is at loss to say whether this thing belongs to this group or that group. Now, if you will ask, when Quran is being sent down, Allah will declare it. So this field of mubah will become short. You will have more burden and more limitations on your shoulders. Don't think Allah has left them over due to some forgetfulness. Min ghairi nisyanin, these are the words in hadith. Don't think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, had some, he just forgot to mention those things. He has not mentioned those things as a mercy to you. If it is declared haram and you commit it, you are a culprit. If it has not been haram, declared by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you can plead. Oh Allah, it was not declared haram. I never found it anywhere in the Quran, in the hadith, that this is haram. So whatever is not haram is mubah, permissible. Although there might not be any positive proof of its being halal. The principle of jurisprudence in Islam is that everything is mubah unless proved otherwise. Unless it is proved it is haram. Not that everything is haram unless it is proved to be halal. That would have, very much diminished the field of mubahat. But this is the principle which is absolutely in the opposite. قَدْ سَأَلَهَا قَوْمٌ مِّن قَبْلِكُمْ. Such questions were asked by the people who were before you. ثُمَّ أَصْبَحُوا بِهَا كَافِرِينَ. And then they lost their faith due to it. They increased their burden. What about this? What about this? What about this? And an incident happened. When Hajj was made compulsory and imperative, ayah was revealed in Surah Al-Imran, وَلِلنَّاسِ عَلَى اللَّهِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. A Muslim stood up, O Prophet, is it imperative? It is obligatory every year? The Prophet ﷺ turned his face to the other. He doesn't reply. He comes to that side because he was, a very knowledgeable person. He wanted to have all the knowledge. He said, what about every year? Again, the Prophet kept quiet. When he repeated the question for the third time, the Prophet ﷺ became angry. And he said, if I say yes, it will become obligatory upon you forever. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has left something, why do you want to increase your burden by asking these questions? This was the habit, of the Jews. And then, one can very easily add to his burden, but to carry the burden is something else. Theoretically, you can add it to it. Add to the lists of duties and duties and duties and duties and obligations and everything first. But to perform all these things and fulfill all these obligations is not an easy job. Then you fail. مَا جَعَلَ اللَّهُ مِن بَحِيرَةٍ وَلَا صَائِبَةٍ وَلَا وَصِيرَةٍ وَلَا حَامٍ. Now I can't go into detail. These are the 4 types of animals which used to be devoted to their idols. And, some she-camel had given birth to so many camels. Now she is set free. Nobody would touch her. So in the same way, Saiba, Ham, Bahira, from some, he camel, so many she camels were fertilized. Now he is free to roam about. Just as in India, in Bharat we find, sand, they roam about, and nobody can touch them. All these things, they were the customs of the Jahiliyyah. Ma ja'ala Allah, Allah has not declared, not appointed, neither Bahira, nor Saiba, nor Wasila, nor Ham. وَلَكِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا يَفْتَرُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبَ. Actually, these peoples who don't have any faith, they have concocted and they have attributed these things to Allah. وَأَكْثَرُهُمْ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ, and most of them, they don't use their intellects. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ تَعَالَوْا إِلَىٰ مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ وَإِلَى الرَّسُولِ, and when it is said to them, oh, come to Allah, what Allah has sent down, and come to His Prophet, He will tell you what is halal, what is haram. You don't make conjectures yourself. قَالُوا حَسْبُنَا مَا وَجَدْنَا عَلَيْهِ آبَانَا. They say, no, sufficient is for us what we have found our forefathers to be doing. We don't need any new Sharia. We don't need any new commandments. Our forefathers were not fools. They were doing like this, they were doing like this. It's sufficient for us. أَوَلَوْ كَانَ آبَاؤُهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ. Will they take to this attitude even though their fathers might have been knowing nothing? They might have been ignorant. وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ, and they might not have been able to have the true guidance. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا عَلَيْكُمْ أَنفُسَكُمْ لَا يَضُرُّكُمْ مَنْ ضَلَّ إِذَا اهْتَدَيْتُمْ إِلَى اللَّهِ مَرْجِعُكُمْ جَمِيعًا فَيُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. O you who believe, upon you is the responsibility only of your own souls. Nobody will be able to do you any harm when you are on the right path. It's very important. I don't have any control except on myself. Even the Prophet couldn't have what he wanted. He wanted Abu Talib to say and utter these words of Shahada, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. But even his wish was not accomplished. You don't have any power. But you have power on your own self. So you are responsible basically for your own self. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu alaykum anfusakum la yadurrukum man dalla. Whosoever goes astray is not going to do you any harm. Iza ihtadaytum, when you are on the guided path. Ila Allahi marji'ukum jami'a. To Allah is the return of all of you. فَيُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. Then He will tell you, inform you fully of what you had been doing. But this ayah was misinterpreted by people even in the days so early as the days of the caliphate of Hazrat Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala. They misinterpreted. How? There is no need of da'wah, there is no need of tabligh, there is no need of trying to convince people when you are responsible for your own self. This doesn't mean that. That is your obligation, you have to perform. But even if you have conveyed the message in the best of the ways, cleared it absolutely, you have not left any stone unturned on your behalf. Now, even if then he is not coming to the right path, you are not responsible. But if you are not doing, your job, you will be responsible. It was your duty. So, Hazrat Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala once he addressed the congregation that I feel and I am seeing that some of you, O Muslims, they are misinterpreting this ayah. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't make da'wah and you shouldn't try to, reform people and to enjoin them to whatever is good and to forbid them from whatever is wrong. This is imperative. This is obligatory. This is your duty. You have to do. If you have done your duty, even then if somebody is not coming to the right path, okay, you will not be responsible on the day of judgment. Even if he is your own son. But if you have not tried to bring him up in the correct way, Islamically, then you are responsible. So then he narrated upon him a hadith. Hazrat Abu Bakr read out a hadith to the congregation. When people are seeing a thing forbidden and do not try to eradicate it, it is well nigh that Allah may punish all of them. Something wrong is being done. I see it with my own eyes. I don't say it. It is wrong. Please don't do it. Then if the punishment comes, I will also be included in those who are punished. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu shahadatu bainakum idha hadara ahadakumul maut wa hinal wasiyati isnani zawa adlin minkum. Oh, you who believe, the testimony between you, when death comes to any one of you, and he is making a bequest, a wasiyah, it is isnan zawa adlin minkum, two just equitable people, persons from amongst you, Muslims. A person is dying, he wants to make a wasiyah, he wants to make a bequest. So he should call two people who can be depended upon, mature people, just people, of good character, dependable character, and make them the witness that this is my wasiyah. أَوْ آخَرَانِ مِنْ غَيْرِكُمْ إِنْ أَنْتُمْ ضَرَبْتُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ فَأَصَابَتْكُمْ مُصِيبَةُ الْمَوْتِ. And if you are traveling in the earth, in the land, and that, incident of death comes to you, then you can take witnesses from other people also. If you can't find any Muslims over there, what to do? You are on traveling. So other non-Muslim can also be made. آخَرَانِ مِنْ غَيْرِكُمْ إِنْ أَنْتُمْ ضَرَبْتُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ فَأَصَابَتْكُمْ مُصِيبَةُ الْمَوْتِ تَحْبِسُونَهُمَا مِنْ بَعْدِ الصَّلَاةِ. Now these two witnesses, they should be stopped. They should be retained in the mosque after the prayer. فَيُقْسِمَانِ بِاللَّهِ إِنِ ارْتَبْتُمْ. And then they should swear by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you have any doubts, if you doubt the integrity of those witnesses, now make them swear in the mosque after the prayer. لَا نَشْتَرِي بِهِ سَمَنًا. We will never purchase, we will never barter away this bequest for any price. لَوْ كَانَ ذَا قُرْبَى. Maybe the beneficiary is my relative related to me. وَلَا نَكْتُمُ شَهَادَةَ اللَّهِ. And we will not conceal or hide the witness of Allah. This shahada is shahadatullah. Inna idhal lamin al-asimin. If we do it, we will be among the sinners. فَإِنْ عُسِرَ عَلَىٰ أَنَّهُمَ اسْتَحَقَّا. But if it is discovered that they have become guilty of sin, فَإِنْ عُسِرَ عَلَىٰ أَنَّهُمَ اسْتَحَقَّا إِثْمًا فَآخَرَانِ يَقُومَانِ مَقَامَهُمَا. Now two other people should stand in their place. At that very moment in the mosque, now they should testify. مِنَ الَّذِينَ اسْتَحَقَّ عَلَيْهِمُ الْأَوْلِيَانِ. And they should be nearest to the king, to the person who died. فَيُقْسِمَانِ بِاللَّهِ. They will also swear with Allah, the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَشَهَادَتُنَا أَحَقُّ مِنْ شَهَادَتِهِمَا. Our witnessing, our testimony is more correct than the testimony of these two people. وَمَا اعْتَدَيْنَا. And we have not transgressed. إِنَّا إِذًا لَمِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. If we do it, then we are the transgressors. We are the evildoers. That we shall be punishable by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ذَلِكَ أَدْنَا أَنْ يَأْتُوا بِالشَّهَادَةِ عَلَى وَجْهِهَا. This is more clear or more likely that those people, the original two, they will now bring forth the testimony in the original form. Had it been that whatever you say, it will be accepted, then they might have been tempted to say something wrong. But if they know that their oath can be abrogated by the oath of two other persons also, then they will be cautious. They won't say anything wrong. ذَلِكَ أَدْنَا يَأْتُوا بِالشَّهَادَةِ عَلَى وَجْهِهَا أَوْ يَخَافُوا أَن تُرَدَّ أَيْمَانٌ بَعْدَ أَيْمَانِهِمْ. Just possible that our oath will be abrogated due to other oaths. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَاسْمَعُوا. And have taqwa of Allah and listen. And what does it mean? Listen and obey. Wallahu la yahdil qawmal fasiqeen. And Allah doesn't guide to the right path people who are themselves intending to be transgressing.